train. They've completely shut down.
400 metres to go. They straighten up for the finish line.
And has somebody gone down straight away? It's a bad spin to either, but too tired from the chase. I think he'll get this.
Timed his run to perfection.
He wins today, and this time he'll get a yellow jersey.
Stage 2, and the race took the journey from Ballarat through to Bendigo, and it would reshape the general classification. Yellow jersey was lost for Nathan Huss. The defending champion Calvin Watson ran into difficulty as 3 men at the front seized their opportunity. The race now moves into the wine-growing region of Nagambie, which is also the home of Black Caviar. But today, it's horsepower of a different kind. For Clark, the win on stage 2 has also given him the yellow jersey. His teammates, they change role. It's no longer Gerrans they protect, it's Clark who they're looking after.
With 2 days to go, it's Mitchelton Winery, which is now the location for the penultimate stage of the 61st running of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. Its famous observation tower as it nestles on the banks of the River Goulburn. Hello everybody, and welcome back to our coverage of the Jayco Herald Sun Tour. I'm Phil Liggett, alongside me is Scott McGrory. Yesterday it was hot, very hot on the road to Bendigo. 3 riders slipping the field, and now we have a leader in Simon Clark, which is looking pretty good.
He is, isn't he? He's 8 seconds in front of Cameron Worth from the Cannondale team. And the surprise packet of this year's tour, Jack Haig from Avant. He's only 20 years of age. He raced into his hometown of Bendigo yesterday and showed just how strong he is. From today's stage, it's not anywhere near as difficult as it was yesterday. The second and final climb of the stage comes 80 kilometres from the finish. So I imagine there will be a regrouping and quite possibly a big bunch sprint into Nagambie. So I would expect Simon Clark to stay in yellow at the end of today.
Well, we brought the start forward today by 1 hour because of the heat, and believe me, although it's only locally 9:10 in the morning, it is very hot here already. I think that's a good decision by the organisation. But how will it affect the race? You know, yesterday we didn't expect a great race. We got a magnificent stage. Is the heat going to take it again?
It'll make it harder, for sure, much more difficult. But look, these riders are accustomed to it. The fatigue is starting to come in as well, so that will also magnify the heat today.
Yeah.
So it will be difficult out on the course, but I think Simon Clark is looking very strong in yellow, and the Garmin Sharp team really need to pull something out of the bag.
All right, well, let's talk tactics now, because this could be a most interesting day.
The tactic for today, basically like the last couple of days, is to look for any opportunity to, you know, just be a part of the action in the race. And we've got the small roads and a lot of wind out here in this area still, so just stay alert, stay at the front, try and recover a little bit from yesterday if possible, but also not be afraid to go on the offensive again. I think it's a race where, you know, fortune favours the brave, so see what happens.
Simon, are you looking forward to the opportunity to protect the yellow jersey on someone else's shoulder?
Yeah, definitely, very much so. Even sort of coming into this week, I already thought it was a good opportunity for the other guys in our team to really step on up and take a few leadership responsibilities. So Simon really took that opportunity yesterday, and he's put himself in the perfect position to win the overall. So I'm looking forward to supporting him for the next couple of days.
You know, you never know what can happen in racing, and you know, I'm somebody that likes to race. When I see an opportunity, I always take it. But I think you know, Green Edge showed some pretty you know, amazing teamwork yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if they control this textbook perfectly today.
96 riders started this race 4 days ago. There are still 88 in it, and Matthew Keenan can now take us around stage 3.
Stage 3 gets underway at the Mitchelton Winery and finishes in Nagambie. As the bird flies, it's only about 5 kilometres, but the race, it takes the long route heading up through the Strathbogie Ranges. There are 2 categorised climbs. They come at the midpoint on the stage, so they shouldn't have a huge impact on the general classification. But with the heat, it's likely to be an aggressive race early for that breakaway to get established to try and win the stage. After the climbs, it's a relatively flat run through to the finish line. Simon Clark will be in the yellow jersey, Orica Green Edge protecting him. Maybe they'll get greedy and look for the stage win as well with Matt Goss.
At the start here, it is all of the Orica Green Edge team on the front. They are the turbine team leaders in this competition, and their owner, Jerry Ryan, of course, also owns the team as well as the winery.
Well, it was perfect tactics by the Orica Green Edge riders yesterday. Simon Clark, the strongest out along the road, picking up the stage as they go out of the Mitchelton Winery. A couple of kilometres of neutral before they do get underway. And there'll be some very nervous riders and very sore legs after what was a very difficult stage yesterday.
A picture card setting indeed as the flag goes in from John Trevorrow. It's a narrow road starting off, but he gets a little bit wider soon. And I think we expected this, Scott, a great attack from the gun here.
Well, it was the Rafa rider, Hugh Carthy, was the first rider to go on the attack, because I know his team manager, John Herity, absolutely ripped into the team for missing yesterday's break.
Now, just trying to get onto that leading group there, trying to cross the gap is Christian Jules of the Budget Forklifts. They missed out yesterday, trying to make amends here because they've got nobody in a front group of 7 trying to establish themselves.
Back at the main field, control has been taken by Orica Green Edge, and Garmin Sharp up there as well, contributing to the controlling of the pace. There's no real stress from these guys at the moment as that breakaway group is forming.
Now there's a definite easing on the peloton here. Now we've got 7 riders up front. The gap has shot up to 4 minutes. No reaction from the field, and still coming across the gap we have still got Christian Jules. He's going to have to still bridge about 50 seconds, and we're heading towards the Strathbogie Hills. And here he is, and he's in the convoy from the leaders now. That, I have to say, has been a fantastic chase.
That I actually thought that he would not be able to make it across. That's an incredible bridging of the gap to those 7 riders out in front. Strong performance by him.
Yes, as the French would say, chapeau there to Christian Jules for catching up with the leaders. He shakes his head as he looked there at Nathan Elliott and said, I don't believe I've just caught you up. But we now have 8 leaders here and the gap around 4 minutes.
Orica Green Edge still controlling the pace back at the main field. Now, the highest rider in the overall classification in that breakaway group is Jack Anderson from the Drapac team. He's at about 1.5 seconds as we see his teammate Jonathan Cantwell. He's in the green sprinters jersey back in the main field. So they don't want to let this group go too far away because there is one rider in Jack Anderson that is slightly dangerous.
And there's also cheers along the way here for Steele von Hoff. He's the local boy. And Steele is a very fast finisher on Garmin Sharp, and he's in that main field just now.
Well, Phil, he has to be one of the outright favourites for today's stage. He is such a fast sprinter, the Australian Criterium champion, and we know it's 80 kilometres from the second of the categorised climbs to the finish, and it's perfectly suited to him.
Well, the state of Victoria is so diverse. The gap is coming down. There is a reaction at 3 minutes and 16 seconds. The gap, we're approaching Seymour now, some 34 kilometres into the day. They so far have done very well, but look at this. Simon Gerrans, the champion of Australia, becoming the super domestique for Orica Green Edge.
Well, the attention swapping to Simon Clark as their overall contender from the team. Simon Gerrans, he does exactly what is required as a professional cyclist, as the code red, such as the heat today, extreme conditions out on the road. That's why the race was brought forward 1 hour, because of the conditions. Now the breakaway group out on the first categorised climb.
We are approaching 37 degrees Celsius at the moment, and we're only mid-morning here. It's going to be a very, very hot day. Here's the distribution. This is Simon Gerrans passing out the drinks to his teammates.
And of course, it is only to his teammates. He does have Thomas Decker on the front there from Garmin Sharp contributing to the chase, but it'll be one of the Garmin riders that'll have to go back and get the bottles for that team.
Simon Clark, the yellow jersey, next in line there. He had a spare bottle down the back of his neck, so he'll be fine. Peloton, though, aren't allowing this breakaway to go. They've started to return the time gap here. It was over 4 minutes. It is coming down now. The first destination as we go into the Strathbogies is a 3rd category climb. This is the breakaway, the black jersey there, being held on by Hugh McCarthy.
Well, that's Frattini from United Healthcare, 35-year-old Italian riding for the American team on the front as well.
And this is the sprint to the top now, and it looks as though Christian Jules, the man who took a few kilometres to catch up, is wasting no time. He's first over the King of the Mountains there. Jack Anderson for Drapac second, and Sam Spokes in 3rd place. The peloton now, though, are down to 2 3/4 minutes behind, and we're 60 kilometres into the race.
I'm very impressed as we see the King of the Mountains competition leader, Thomas Hamilton. He's quite happy to be back in the main field. There's no one of danger for his competition out in the breakaway group, so he can have a day off.
It's a perfect scenario for him. He can let those boys steal the King of the Mountain points and be very happy with that. And the King of the Mountains are sponsored by Budget Forklifts, but they had their own man take the points there as well. Jack Anderson of Drapac on the front here as they grab the food on the run today. Most of it's going to be liquid food because it is so hot. This is the peloton over the top, timed at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. They are not allowing this breakaway to go because Jack Anderson up there is the virtual leader of this race on the road. So they're going to try and chase them down, not least Orica Green Edge.
Well, I'm sure they're actually also looking for a stage win with Matthew Goss as well. So they'll keep this group under control. Jack Anderson just trying to cool down a little bit, putting the water through the helmet to get some refreshments. Straight into the next one, get that one inside the belly.
Well, as they continue to go towards the finish, the weather gets hotter.
No, it's a great day. It's going to be very warm, and I think it was very wise to move the race earlier. But if the racing, as it was yesterday, can continue today, it's going to be a very, very exciting day, and hopefully the best rider wins.
Jerry Ryan is also the owner of Mitchelton Winery, which is located just 90 minutes north of Melbourne. It offers the best of Australian contemporary wine and food culture, and it's set amidst red gum-lined waterways on the beautiful Goulburn River. It's a perfect setting for Stage 3 start. So as the riders speed and zigzag across the River Goulburn here, this breakaway as they approach the feeding station 84 kilometres into the day, their lead is 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And in the peloton, it's Orica Greenedge who are driving the pace here, but sadly one rider no longer part of the international peloton is Will Walker. But this is Will Walker crossing. Will has decided to go alone, and Will Walker is only 20.
Will Walker burst onto the scene as a 16-year-old. By 20, he was a silver medalist at the World Championships, an Australian road champion, and labelled as a potential Tour de France contender.
The greatest moment of this young man's life he rides.
Some of my best memories have got nothing to do with like what people would think, but by far the best memory for me was the Bay Crit that I won at 17. I mean, that's like so far. I don't think even if I won a Tour de France stage, it wouldn't have felt as good as that day.
At 24, it all came tumbling down with a heart condition that forced him into early retirement.
New team for Will Walker this year. He's across to the Baku team.
But a determined Walker made a comeback, one that could have been fatal. In the breakaway at the Australian Road Championships, his heart rate hit 270 beats per minute and he was gasping for air.
I think he's going to watch the rest of the race from the roadside.
I've spoken to the cardiologists after. They said up to 99% chance that I should have passed away that day with the arrhythmia that I had. So 270 beats per hour. There was a lot of time there to really think about life long and hard.
Look, I think the key thing with Will is that he's had the problem for a long time. His body has learned to tolerate it. In many situations, it's unquestionably life-threatening, but he showed a remarkable resilience with the symptoms that he had.
His career over, but grateful to be alive.
I mean, I've never had that many messages in total in life put together. I mean, I had probably 300 on Facebook, 300 text messages. It was ridiculous. So it was probably the nicest way I could have retired anyway.
You go 60k an hour.
While his future is a little uncertain, his team wants him to continue working with them. It's up to Walker to decide his destination.
You've got to be there for the sprint.
We're going to take him into our resources, into our management now, and also a little bit the Azerbaijan Federation. So whilst he's not pedaling in anger anymore, he's still very much part of the team.
If I want to be remembered, I guess it's for, like, you know, the work that I put into cycling, the courage. You know, I was always training as hard as I possibly could to be good. Just to be remembered that, you know, this guy gave it his all. He, you know, went against the odds to try and make a comeback, did reasonably successfully, maybe remembered that I was better than I was before when I did make the comeback. Just gave my best shot and went out with a bang.
Life is good. Life is really good.
Well, as we rejoin the action, they're still clear, these 8 riders, but the gap is now hovering around about, well, there you are, 1 minute 44 seconds. So they're still being chased down here.
Well, just losing a little bit of contact at the back of the group here is Azadov from Baku Racing Team, and it's Orica Greenedge combine again with Garmin Sharp. They just take complete control of this race.
It is an unusual situation, isn't it, Scott? Two World Tour teams, the two top teams around the world, now being forced to chase a group of riders, many of whom they'll never have heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the yellow jersey there, they've got the responsibility, I reckon, Green Edge, to take control of the race. But then you think about the nature of this stage being typically a sprint finish, then Steele von Hoff from Garmin Sharp, and of course Matt Goss from Orica Green Edge. That's the reason that these two teams have formed an alliance.
Well, these little rises are always going to hurt. We're approaching the sprint here at Trowell, which will take us through 104 kilometres. And it looks as though Jack Anderson in the Drapac colours is going to take on Sam Spokes. As they come off this bend, they should see the line, but it's a clean pair of wheels by Jack Anderson. Valuable points in the train reaction green jersey competition. Spokes second, and Christian Jewell across the line there in third.
We can see Anderson here, and we are calling him Jack Anderson. It comes up on the graphic, John Anderson, which is his real name, but everyone refers to him as Jack.
To stop confusion with that, I guess. Again, another nice view of the Golden River. We'll zigzag across it through to the finish. There's the sprint point now, and as the riders go through there, I'm getting a time check of 1 minute and 43 seconds. So they're really fighting out there. Now, Chris Jury has just attacked the breakaway.
Well, this has come directly after that second intermediate sprint. And now Anderson trying to get across to him as well. Obviously, there was a little bit of tension in that breakaway group. They were working well together for a long time, but a little bit of hesitation slipped in, and now riders are starting to attack. It's still a long way to go, though.
Christian Jewell also trying to move up for budget forklifts. Well, the thing is that these riders now are seeing the gap coming down. It's approaching again 1.5 minutes. The peloton are hunting them down, and they're sensing, Scott, there are passengers now in that front group.
Absolutely, just coming into the town of Seymour now. It's still Chris Jory from the Quartermentha Real Estate Australian national team coming through. He was very disappointed that he didn't get a call-up for the Australian team for the Tour Down Under, so he's trying to prove a point today.
The 7 chasers totally regrouped, leaving just one man out front. He's only a few seconds in front. I think it's a worthwhile try here for him, because it might work as we go through Seymour. And the peloton are still closing in, but not as quickly as you might like, and they've closed in completely here now on the Quartermentha attacker Chris Dewey.
Well, the peloton still being strung out by Garmin and, of course, the Orica Green Edge squad. You just see here with Steele von Hoff just behind in his neck there. There's a big bulge in his jersey. A lot of the riders, because it is getting close to 40 degrees, have been putting stockings packed with ice under their jerseys just to try and cool their temperature.
Well, I can't blame them. The body will be getting pretty hot now, because the pace is certainly hot here. And there's another rider who's thinking of the finish, Matt Goss. He's a big sprinter. First of all, the immediate problem is to catch these 8 riders still up front. Well, it looks like we might be down to 7 now, because this is Asadov falling back from the breakaway. So we're just about 12 kilometres now from the finish, and there's been a crash here as we approach Mitchelton Winery, and Bettiol is on the floor on the right. We've got Steele von Hoff on the far side, Neil van der Ploeg in an upside down position, and I think we've got Glenn O'Shea in the white just off our camera.
That is Glenn O'Shea standing up, trying to untangle all of the bikes here. Bettiol in a little bit of trouble, a lot of skin off on his shoulder. That's unfortunate. Under 23 rider from the Italian team. The ambulance directly on the point. Oh, he looks terrible with the blood streaming down his knee as well. And there is still a rider on the left-hand side here, still being tended to. Well, that's Steele von Hoff trying to get up and going again. Oh, it's Pat Shaw, the Australian rider for Quartermentha. Number 4, he looks very hurt, straight into the ambulance. That's unfortunate for him.
That's a very, very heavy fall there for Pat Shaw, and so close to the finish as well. Steele von Hoff, he was involved in the shunt. He seems okay. His bike's been straightened out. He's now in pursuit of the peloton. The peloton speed on, of course, and they're getting very close to that breakaway now. These are the leaders here, and when the camera begins to pull back, I think we're going to see, there they are, they're right on them. The breakaway is over, and now it really is going to be very shortly. Eyes down for the big finish.
Well, there was just that last scramble from the breakaway. 4 riders did get dropped and go back to the peloton, and these 4 tried to soldier on. Congratulations all round, a job well done, but they couldn't quite pull it off.
Well, we are now 5 kilometres from the finish, and any one of 80 could win the day. Today's stage finish is in Nagambie, so grab your oars, hire a boat and explore the beautiful Goulburn River, one of Victoria's largest inland river systems. The river passes through Lake Nagambie and onto the historic Goulburn Weir. Nagambie was also the birthplace of the all-conquering Black Caviar. She was undefeated in 25 races and was retired last year. Well, as we rejoin at the head of the peloton here, I can tell you that Steele Von Hoff has rejoined the peloton after his fall. Pat Shaw has gone off to hospital, but look at this now. This is a real charge for the finish, and the finish down through Nagambie is a sprinter's delight.
Well, it is an absolute flat chat, straight run into the town. You can see the scramble that's happening. Avanti are up there as well, trying to protect their main man, Jack Haig, sitting third overall, pushing and shoving in the middle of the peloton as well as they're trying to get this lead out done.
The yellow jersey there of Simon Clark, he will just want to keep himself out of trouble here, because if he reaches the finishing line in the pack, he will keep his lead tonight, but others want the win.
Well, that's Steele Von Hoff there, just the second rider on the left of the screen. He's made it back from the crash. He's on the wheel of Nathan Haas, so their main man in the sprint is still there.
It looked like Thomas Decker of Garmin Sharp, who swung off his pacemaking over for the day. The field are now on the long straight finishing approach to the line.
Well, I can see the yellow shoulders there of the Australian champion, Simon Gerrans. In front of him, it's Cameron Meyer now out of the saddle, going forward, trying to set Matthew Goss up for a victory.
And Campbell in the green on the far side is trying to get through. He's a fast finisher, but at the moment Orica Greenedge have the advantage. Meyer, Gerrans and then Matt Goss waiting for the move. Gerrans starts to go now. He's got Goss on his back wheel, but there's a surge of riders coming up on the other side of the road here. It looks as though Cameron Worth has tried to take the wheel of Simon Clark, but he's switched to the left of our picture now. There's a rush up on the outside because that is Steele Von Hoff trying to get him through on the point here. They go under the arch here, but I think, you know, they've realised the finish isn't under the arch, a little bit round the corner. And now coming up on the outside is the white jersey of Robert John McCarthy, and this is going to be a major upset. The youngster's going to steal this from the stars. He gets it on the line from Rico Rogers, and I think Felix English may have taken third. That was an amazing result for this rider here. The South Australian, the former Irishman from Fermoy, has taken the stage victory here, and need we remind everybody he's sponsored by Jayco. Jerry Ryan will be delighted. And this is Felix English here, also congratulating him. He will have finished third today. The team also extremely happy. Well, there's the result in slow motion, a youngster we're going to talk about a lot. Let's hear from him now.
Robert, you weren't listed as one of the favourites. What was the emotion going across the line?
A bit of shock, to be honest. I mean, I know I'm a good sprinter, but when you look at the field here, it's like, you know, some of the best in the world. So, like, you know, I was just coming here to try and learn from those guys, and yeah, I just found myself in a good position and I just hit out and come across the line first, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I'm a bit speechless, to be honest.
Simon, how's your first day in yellow?
Look, it was great. Enjoy it. It's nice to stand on the podium, but it's good to get out there the next day and wear it in front of everyone, in front of the crowd. So it was a good day and a stress-free day for me. The team did a great job.
The Jayco winning mood began to develop about 5 kilometres out when all of the sprinters started to put the hard-working domestiques on the front of the race.
Well, I saw Jonathan Cantwell's lead-out train start to move at about a K&a-half to go, and I just got on his wheel and then followed him until maybe 250 metres to go and stepped off and went for the line.
And the result was a 19-year-old getting the stage win in 3 hours and 47 minutes. Robert John McCarthy, his first victory in a stage of the Sun Tour. The Subaru most progressive rider was Chris Jury, and well deserved. The state government of Victoria under-23 stage with Jack Haig. And in the chain reaction points competition, new leader here in John Anderson. And in the budget forklifts, King of the Mountains, the only leader, Tom Hamilton. Will he win it tomorrow? The yellow jersey retained the first man to defend it this week. It stays on the shoulders of Simon Clark with the same time gaps he had at the start of the day. After almost 11 hours in the saddle, he leads Cameron Worth by 8 seconds, Jack Haig by 11, and the field at over a minute. Well, in the end, it really was a predictable stage with almost all of the field coming to the finishing line together, with the exception of poor Pat Shaw crashing so close to the finish and being taken away from the race by ambulance. But for the winners today, they were strange names.
Strange names, but I guess we should have to get used to them. Robert John McCarthy, that was a very impressive sprint. Riding for the Australian under-23 Jayco team. So he's a young guy, but he's a young guy in a hurry.
So the big stars of this race all swamped in the last couple of 100 metres, but overall, with them all getting the same time, there was no change. So we still have Simon Clark going into the last day. And the last day is, as we always predicted to be, the big Battle of Arthur's Seat.
Well, Simon Clark is poised to go for the overall victory, but I'm not so sure. We have to look out for this young gun from Bendigo, Jack Haig. He loves going uphill, and it's 3 times up the ascent of Arthur's Seat. I'm predicting Jack Haig for a big upset.
The race is ready for a big climax. Join us tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.